Hello, my name is Adelle Zocher. I'm a public affairs specialist with AAA Northeast. I'm also a CPS technician, which is child passenger safety technician and instructor. And I have an additional certification for special needs transport for children with special transportation considerations. And today I'm speaking with my mentor, Cathi Kellett of Griffin Hospital. And we're going to talk a little bit about some conventional seats that can be used for children with special needs and how we can best serve families in that way. So Cathi, your title?
Hi, thanks for having me, Adele. Yep, I'm Cathi Kellett. I have got many titles here at Griffin Hospital. I am the Special Programs Coordinator. I'm the Safe Kids Greater Naugatuck Valley Coalition Coordinator and our CPR Training Center Coordinator. I'm also a Child Passenger Safety Technician instructor and an instructor for transporting children with special health care needs. So I'm busy, but I'm glad to be here to help let our families know about some little tricks of the trade that we can work with, we can help them with.
Absolutely. So as special needs technicians, one of the most basic, basic pieces of information that we are meant to give to families is that we want them to use a conventional seat whenever possible, right? So rather than going through insurance, which can really be tricky, sometimes they only allow one seat per however many years that they will cover. And many special needs families have other considerations for equipment they need. So we really like to see families using those conventional seats as much as they can. And what we wanted to talk about today was really just some options, some conventional seat options that work well for children with special needs when they can, remain in the conventional seat versus the more expensive special needs seat.
Sure. So the world of child passenger safety has really blossomed over the years between the technicians that have given input to the car seat manufacturers, the manufacturers who are representatives who are car seat technicians themselves. The lines of communication have really been opened up. So when we're talking with parents and say they have a child that has some muscle tone issues, maybe some low muscle tone, they have trouble keeping their trunk upright, or their head gets a little bit floppy. We want to try and use a seat that can possibly recline forward facing, because if they're too big to be rear facing, forward facing, that has a couple more options. Some of the seats used to be just forward facing and it's just this upright one position. Now we've got some seats that are multiple, as little as 2 or 3, to some that even have 9 positions. So it's really taking into account some of these families' needs. In addition to that, the high harness weight, that internal harness, they used to go to just 40 pounds. It was big when they went to 50. Now, most of them go to 65 pounds, and some of them will even go to 90 pounds. And that harness, is really going to help with their posture, help keep them up. And they've even now put some of the side for the headrest, more support on the sides, more supports along the trunk. So without getting into any of the special needs seats yet, a lot of the conventional, the big manufacturers are taking all this into account and making these seats. And it's always a good idea working with your healthcare team. You have your pediatrician, maybe you have the orthopedic doc, maybe you have a heart doctor, but you have your physical therapist, your occupational therapist, and then reach out to your local Safe Kids or your local child passenger safety technician. You can go onto your state's website and type in child passenger safety or car seat help, and the list for your state is going to come up. So it's not just you have to be affiliated with a hospital, which is great, like you guys at AAA are. That's great that you have techs throughout the country, and right here in our own little section of Connecticut.
We're very lucky. We're a really great, support network for each other, and I feel
Mhm.
very lucky. Of course, Cathi, I cannot thank you enough, rather, for all of, how much you have mentored me and taught me. But really, what that means, is just another person out there who is a resource to families, another point person for people to come and say, like you say, Cathi, not necessarily through the hospital. Oftentimes, families are going through a hospital because, they're dealing with complex medical issues. But all families really to have the resource, whether it's through AAA, whether it's through a hospital, a fire department. But yeah, checking with your local Safe Kids Coalition, you'll be able to find technicians who are available all over. They're ready to help, eager to help. And so, especially, with the special needs seats, we also, when we think about special needs considerations for children in those conventional seats, there are some seats, right, Kath, that are deeper, which can be good for kids, who have positioning issues, who need to be staying more upright. But not to mention, like you had said before, some of all of the manufacturers, seemingly really all of them, are getting on the bandwagon where it's like, we want kids rear facing longer to higher weight limits. We want kids in a
Mhm.
5-point harness longer. So they're putting weight limits rear facing to 50 pounds perhaps.
Correct.
There are seats on the market that have, harnessing abilities up to 90 pounds, correct, with certain seats. So
Correct.
it's, the manufacturers really are, getting on board with that too. We want kids harnessed longer in the 5-point harness system, and we want children riding rear facing as long as possible. So especially for those
Right.
special needs kids who need that, further recline, how great that they can stay in a rear facing position, as long as that, they're fitting the limits of the seat till 50 pounds potentially. Really, really
Right.
helpful.
And a lot of these seats are also what they're calling like an all-in-one or a forever, where we're starting off in this rear facing to the higher weight limit. We're going higher weight limit to that internal harness. And then it's turning into a high back booster and then a backless with, again, higher weight limits. And because they've got a lot of these additional safety features, a lot more put into them, some of these seats that turn into the boosters have more of that side support, that head support too, which is what a lot of these kiddos need at times. So people just working with your healthcare team and everybody's input, including the child, because you may think you have the greatest seat, and then you put this kiddo in, and kiddo wants nothing to do with it. So they
Exactly.
may, what we think is a deep enough seat, they may be like moving around and just not getting comfortable. So you want to take everybody's thoughts into account and try multiple different seats. And unfortunately, in this world of COVID right now, trying out the seats is a little bit challenging, but there's a way to do it, especially having the input from your healthcare team and a certified child passenger safety technician.
Absolutely. And, even issues, certain issues like positioning for children with, perhaps if they have a missing limb, or if they have a consideration with a limb issue. There are so many seats on the market, which is so great. We don't have to immediately jump to that $3,000 special needs car
Right.
seat. They make these big, beautiful, comfortable, cushy seats with beautiful positioning options. Again, depending
Correct.
on, knowing you have that resource to say, hey, look into this, because as technicians, we are always telling a family that the right seat is the seat that fits your child, that can be installed correctly every time, used correctly, and works
Mhm.
with that family's budget. And so if we don't have that, then it's not working for the family. Like you say, Kath, if it
Right.
doesn't work for the kid, it doesn't matter if it's economical, it doesn't matter if it looks good, if it fits well in the car, if it's not working for the child. So all of those things, it's a full picture that has to be taken into consideration.
Right. And you also want to look at how quickly is your child growing. And some of the car seats, a lot of them, especially as one these that can go from rear facing only or rear facing to the boosters, they're now getting a 10-year lifespan out of these. So they're a little bit more expensive, but that's okay. You've got the one cost now, but if you can get 10 years out of it, that's going to really help also.
And
You do
infinitely,
want to look at, I'm sorry?
I was gonna say, and much superior, for those families to spend $200-300 on a seat, as opposed to $3,000 for a special needs seat.
Okay.
It's always that cost benefit, right? We want to give the child what they need. Absolutely. If it needs to be a special needs seat for, a more severe case, of course, we work with insurance. Like Cathi says, you work with this team of providers, but the bottom line is most of the time, many times, and maybe not most of the time, it depends on the case, but we can find a conventional seat that will work for that family. It will work with their budget, work with that child.
Right, right. Um, and you want to look at, all right, if my child is kind of maxing out at this height, this weight, we look at the different kinds of seats. Maybe in a couple of years, is this still going to fit? Is this still going to work right in my car? Some of these car seats are very heavy because with a 10-year lifespan on them, they've got a really solid material, that steel frame. That's going to be a heavy seat. You do want to take into account, are you the only one transporting this child? Are you using only your vehicle? Or do you have other caregivers, other family members that are going to be taking this seat and now putting it into their vehicle? So there's lots of things that you want to look at. It's not just, one little pigeonhole. You want to be looking at all the different things that are going to affect.
And that's our job as technicians. It's not just to send a family away with a seat installed and say, we've washed our hands of it. It's to make sure that those parents have the tools to say, well, I have to take this giant seat and put it in dad's car now, or grandma's car. And if we just let them leave and say we did an install and that's it, they're not going to be putting that child in their vehicle safely. So part of our job as technicians is to also educate and inform and give the parents those tools. And that's why working with a CPS technician, with a team of professionals, you're just guaranteeing best success for that family. We're going to, every time, whatever car they're in, whatever way they install that car seat, whoever it is installing, they have the tools, they have been given the information so that it will be done correctly every single time, because that's the only way we can ensure that those children are safe on the road.
Right, absolutely. And I can tell you what we've done here at Griffin. We've actually had some informal parent education, drop-in sessions where we've talked about the special needs in general, and then, okay, now let's talk specifically about your child. We've held these education programs for caregivers, like in the school setting. We've held it for physicians. We'll do it one-on-one. We'll have a group. We'll even, if you have your healthcare team, but you don't have a special needs technician or a child passenger safety technician with some kind of training, you can give us a call at Griffin, and I will be more than happy to give you a consult, to give you some guidance for questions to ask. We're here. We want to help, like you said, Adelle, help educate and empower you, the individual, as much as we can.
Absolutely. And the best part is, so Cathi and I are located here in Connecticut, and of course, AAA Northeast, we're across 5 states. But you can call any of us up, and we can, if we can't be the tech to help you, it's so easy to find the other folks in the Safe Kids Network. It's a really great network to work within across the country, across states. We will always be able to find you a technician on hand wherever you are, because they are everywhere. Depending on your location, whether you're a little more rural, remote, it may be a little bit more of a journey, but wherever you are, there is a Safe Kids chapter that you will be able to find in your respective state. And again, whether it was calling me and Cathi here in Connecticut, whether it was Googling Safe Kids in Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, wherever it is, you will be able to find that resource. And you can do it through AAA.com/community as well. So we list our technicians and their names in the Safe Kids chapter. So, again, resources abound, and most people, it seems, when they come to me, at least probably you too, Cath, they're thrilled, they're surprised. Oh, I didn't know I could do this. But again, just sharing that information, spreading it around to everyone else. So say, come find me, tell your friends, let everyone know, because it's between 70 and 90%, depending on where you are, is the misuse rate, which means between 70 and 90% of families are not getting it completely correct. So nobody's like the bad guy, nobody's alone in that. It's the rare person who does it perfectly every time. So we need some help, and there's nothing wrong with that, and we're here for that. So that's exactly what we want families to do, is find us, seek us out, and if we're not the person, we're gonna find the person who can help you.
Right. And that's one thing I was just going to add there, Adelle. We, as instructors and technicians, we reach out to each other on a regular basis just to kind of, hey, I haven't seen this particular kind of seat, or I haven't had a kiddo with this particular condition in quite some time or ever. What's your take on it? And with the world of Zoom and FaceTime and all this technology that I'm still getting used to, um, we can actually, look. I could be talking to my friends in Indiana and have them on my phone video, and they could say, oh, you know what, take a look at this particular item, this particular angle. So it really helps our families even more. So
Absolutely. It's one of the things I say to anybody who cares to hear it. It's what I'm most proud of, in my work that I do, is the work I've done, with you, Kath, and our other, partners, because it's very real and impactful. And, it is so wonderful to be able to have this network of support, within and without. It's who we're supporting outside, but also how we support within. And it's a very, excellent tool for families. It's public health, at its basic,
right, yep.
it's very basic stuff. It's preventative health. And if every child traveling in every vehicle was just in the proper seat, safe and secure, it's the number one cause, yes, for unintentional death for children, is car accidents. And this, or maybe it may be number two behind drownings and other accidents, but
Yeah, they're close.
they're very close. Well, it's,
They're,
and again, and this is preventable injuries,
right.
preventable deaths that just, the resources are out there. We are out there. And so we're excited to help for anyone who needs us. So,
Yes, absolutely.
well, thank you, Kathy. It was so great to chat with you about our special needs, or rather our conventional seat options for our special needs families. And again, any family who has any questions, any concerns, please, you can feel free. We will have our information linked, but also information to, Safe Kids nationally. So no matter where you are, wherever you may be hearing us from, you have access to that information, and you can empower yourself to be safe, secure, and have your children be safe and secure while you travel.
Great. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me, and hope to be back again.
My pleasure. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, Kath?
All right. Take care.
Okay, take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.